half in, half out, kind of signals the transition into the end game as Thomas helps end Sebi's game there. He's going to be set back and have to queue up after that. And Thomas hits him with a favorite email. Hey, if you got that email in your party royale, mimic it right now. Let Thomas know you're with him and sending him the aid, because he has a really good shot to ride this game out with where he's positioned, because after the fourth zone, you don't want to head super central. So all of a sudden, that half in, half out zone pulls to the south and is on this high ground, and he has all the shockwave launcher plus the launch pad plus the mythic charge shotgun. It's going to be really difficult to force him out of a priority position. He's going to be somebody to watch over the course of this game. It's going to impact the other players around him.
He's already doing that just with his AR. He's like a Sebi. He's going to take down passive. And this is very, very good for him, because he doesn't have to go too aggressive to get these eliminations. They're kind of being handed to him here. He's just taking a grasp of his surroundings, looking at every possible angle, and getting eliminations. And speaking of that, Mr. Savage going to pick up elimination there onto Verstroki.
Yeah, and you can see that action kind of being driven as players are forced to rotate in, start to get priority position, because it's not only just about being safe here, it's about establishing yourself for the next rotation, because that half in, half out is so important in terms of priority. But right now, Reason is 5 below the damage threshold, so once this zone clears, he'll start ticking. You want to keep it high on the top left, and then the bottom right-hand corner, that 25 damage every 10 seconds. Reason just able to get himself above it with a nice tag there, and he's starting to get aggressive. We talk about the utility of the crash pads. We saw it in the package beforehand in Ball and Shadow. Talk about how good he can be aggressive on the low ground, and he gets easy there, which is a huge elimination as well, because he pulled that half in, half out zone we talked about. Everyone who banked on it being up on the high ground saying, hey, if it pulls up here, I can win the game. Well, they were wrong. It pulled away from them, and they'll be the ones who have to rotate as we hit top 50, meaning Storm Surge turns off, second round of placement points goes through, and everyone is going to be rotating.
Savage just waiting with that edit open. He was looking for any possible angle to pick up elimination. Lois as well. He's kind of fashioned himself a little bit of a base here that's got these pyramids edited in a nice way so you can see down on players rotating. And this is where you want to be. If you do pull half and half out, you want to be looking for players. You don't want to be exposed, because obviously you can get sniped like your lowest might do here. Some people, Longo picks up an elimination as well, so he's still here in this game and still fighting as well. As Lois is trying to snipe somebody out of the sky and was not able to hit it, but a valiant effort.
Valiant effort, but just a little wide. Might have given him a haircut, but not going to connect. No Storm Surge tags to play there. As we see Kami pick up a huge Elam. Close trying to get involved here. Finds the first tag shot. Gets the second onto Vadil, who had picked up Savage. So Savage, again, going down early, only picking up an Elam and the 2 placement thresholds. 3 points for him there. As we continue through, you can see Lois and Scripps kill in. Helix as well. Skype, one of the now veterans, whom they call boomers in the lobby. 3 players in EU are 20 years old. That is the oldest players who are in the match. Skype has been around qualified for nearly every one of these finals. We're hopping on board here with Sports Froggy, who had an absurd, absolutely gross run in heat number 2 to qualify himself. Pushed himself, I believe it was I think it like 19 or 20 points in the final game to get here. But so far, quiet on the day. No eliminations, but a decent loadout as we now transition into those slowly moving zones, which means all the safe zones are outside, completely away from the current one, and everyone is going to have to move if they want to avoid that storm damage.
And luckily for him, it seems like it's really worth it. He doesn't have to do it as right away. And the elimination, you see in the code, allows that opportunity to find these rotations as well. You see just bouncing away through the crash pads. Doesn't have to worry about it. Xyz is going to fall there in the B. That's an important one to note there. We talked about, we hyped him up, falling down before that 40th placement threshold as well. He's not going to hit on a lot of points. Especially how many points can Froggy end up on, how many points can the rest of the lobby end up on as this game continues to go on. We see Ryachi, we see Mongo, we see Letwick there in your screen as well, and Froggy just taking a high ground with that. The shots go through, he's going to get that player down on low HP, it's Cammy going down. What a huge pick up there by Froggy, but he's not done yet. There's another player on the other side, so he does disengage, so he does have that to build around with and to just drop down layers if he wants to. He's intent on focusing around high ground.
Benji and Hen also picking up a pair of Elams there in the feed as we close in on the threshold. It'll be top 30 in every 5 players going down. Storm Surge will also turn off his top 30. We're closing in on it. There it is. Scouts picking up a pair to make sure he gets that. That's 80 and Diablo, we saw yesterday going down. Thomas also goes down. And then Become Legends Rifle picks up Benji Fishy. Deceptos ends up getting Skype as well going down there. Lexi picking up Styler, but we're still on board here with Quartz Froggy. We saw how much work he can do on the mid-ground tarp here, and he's continuing to run through with that charge shotgun. Picks up Scouts as well, and we're in for another placement threshold. So this is what happens as we start getting the moving circles. All the action for, so keep an eye. Lois all the way up on the high ground. Kiko has priority on the low ground, and then everyone else is the tarp in between. But Hen and Reason are still up on the mid-tarp.
I think Lois was able to pick up that shockwave once when it looked like he may have used the fast pad to take it mongrel. Lee's gonna fall there on the backside. Rezon still this game, getting elimination hit. They got 4 fast pad will come out here for hit. Does have a lot of materials left. Eric picking up 3 eliminations there on the backside. The shots come through on the hit. He is gonna be able to block it off, and the capitalization there on the Stacey will be good. And he realized already losing HP. He's gonna take down a player there as well. And not gonna fall. Lois does have it. But it seems like a crash pad made high ground, but that's never coming up. Decepto's coming up as well. Everybody is coming up for high ground. Rezon just trying to make it through.
Everyone's pushing for the high ground right now, but not necessarily paying attention to what's going down the low ground where people are cleaning up on eliminations. You have Flois in your top right, Froggy in your bottom right, everyone else on the wide. You can see Flois is up on that ultimate high ground. Deceptos and down on that low ground with Reason just above them. Froggy waiting for his opportunity, but keep an eye on the number of builds because we're getting down to the final one. Flois going to pick up an elimination there. We're doing a really good job at just maintaining that high ground control as we're closing in on our top 5. One more player will go down, and it's all about getting in the top 3. Boom, we have it. Bad Sniper, Froggy, and Flois, top 5 in game number 1.
And Lois looking to close out 4 eliminations, but Froggy down below, you cannot count him out yet. He is right there. If he takes down Lois from below, that'll be so huge for him because he will get that shotgun launcher, get that mat refresh. That weight very, very low. But like going to be edited down, shots come through. No, Lois, we want to take it down. Froggy gets down hit. In the meantime, 1v1, Froggy versus Lois, the shotgun launcher up above. Froggy trying to dodge him. Lois sending him down. He's trying to, but he's running out of match. 15 builds remaining, and Froggy does not look like he's stopping anytime soon. But out the zone, taking some damage. The Shockwave himself down, a little Metro classic. Shotgun does come through. The Shockwave is going to send him flying. Shots come through. Lois is going to get the beam, and he takes down Froggy for the victory royale.
Really good job from Flois executing on the top-down push with the mythic weaponry, but more importantly, showing the versatility of that shockwave launcher, launching himself down and then finding a gap to launch the opponent out, cracking him and picking it up with the AR. Match number 1 is done. Fury Flois taking home the victory royale, but we'll see where the leaderboard shakes out. We're going to toss it back on over to Zeke, Shia,
Man, a strong start here in EU, really coming out a nice flow. Flois finding himself in victory royale. Guys, this final fight between Frog and Flois, both players walk into that 1v1, 5 eliminations. The elim and the victory royale is going to be that 4-point swing. This is gonna be a good tone setting for the rest of the competition.
We saw it in every region, right? 1 point matters. That's a 4-point difference for that win and the elim. Coolest thing though to me was the versatility for Flois, how he was playing every single engagement differently and using his entire kit to be able to hold first overall in Europe right now. 6 eliminations, 20 points, and that victory royale.
Yeah, but there's also other people lurking near too, and with only the first game, don't forget there's 6. People are starting to establish themselves. I see Hen in 3rd place right now with 15 points, a sign that he could actually be on that hot streak. Hen, a very hot and cold player. Ludwig, though, played significantly low yesterday, and he's there again in towards the top placements, and also with a couple elims to put himself in 4th place, but Kinzel too. And then the rest of this, I think, is kind of maybe a little different than what we might expect in towards the end of the day. You have Carey, you had the Symptos, you had a Nas. I mean, there are some of these guys who have the potential to win for. I don't know if that's quite it yet.
Yeah, I think at the top, I mean, obviously, this is such a strong start. Win 20 points for Flois. Now he's off the line, but he needs to take that next step and turn this into a long sprint toward the end. Is this the momentum he needs to do this, though?
Yeah, I mean, all the people over here, that's the same kind of question, right? If you haven't seen the standings leaderboard before, the eliminations are the total overall over the 6 games we're playing, as well as the points, and that's a combination of the placement and elims these guys have. So let's see, got 5 points with that game in 22nd place, and 2 eliminations, that's 1 point each. But for these guys, they're kind of sitting at 30th place. They don't have to go for a top 25 anymore. No one has to go for top 50. Everyone here is focused on that win, and they're just slightly behind. Still, though, really hot off the gate.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that people have to figure out on this first game. There are a lot of things and changes to what people might have been expecting. The plans, Zeke, you talked earlier about how these guys are all starting to do their research and whatnot. It shifts a little bit in grand finals. People start to make decisions and play with the mind a little bit of each other to, force things that you might not be comfortable with.
A lot of that is going to dictate that drop spot, right? And how.
La final de la FNCS. No sé qué ha pasado, pero bueno. El título se me ha olvidado ponerlo. Aparte, quería ver la FNCS. Y no quería estar media hora poniendo título, pero bueno, da igual. Quería poner la final de la FNCS, pero bueno, a ver si hay por ahí un grapple y la caja. Vale, hay otra FNCS. No lo cojas, no lo cojo. Está súper guapa, tío. Y estoy por ponerme, no ahí abajo, como antes, estoy por ponerme aquí. Aquí así. Estoy muy lejos, me voy a poner más cerca. No me puedo poner así. Que estoy muy lejos.
And this is kind of like talking about the quality of the players we're seeing, right? Like yes, of course, we have mythic items to play around, but for someone like Lois, it's like if he's gonna
joder, tío, la puta gente que me pisa.
fight and eliminate you, and that loot is gonna be put in his hands, like, okay, I'm already good. I'm already at a 10. You're just giving me that loot, now making me an 11.
Yeah, and also to think about other people who usually had that opportunity to make it through. There was a lot of the big games. I mean, Janice fell off spawn, which you did not expect for him landing at Steamy Stacks with 2 players who play kind of passively in that, and you got sniped. Also, a number of different people who fell in the mid game.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing and the number one word for all these players right now is momentum, right? Lois finding that shotgun block gives them a bunch. Janice getting taken out, as Paul just mentioned, stops the momentum overall, right? So in game number 2, you guys have to find a way to rev their engine faster and then get ahead of everyone else with momentum.
A lot of momentum here to start the day. Guys, I do want to continue, but I'm getting word the games are ready. Let's get ready to hop into game number 2 here of the Fortnite Champions Series in Europe. Action.
Tío, necesito una cosa.
Play, send back away.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Shio, and Bala. And I'm just so excited to see, because I'm a personal fan, or like I'm an advocate for the fact that game 1 is a nice way to set the tone, but you really get an idea of how the leaderboard and how the lobbies are going to play after game 2, because particularly with solos, it's about consistency. Who's able to turn over performance from one game to the next and continue it rolling, and you're really able to see that going down in the second match.
And into the third as well. If you're able to bounce back to that third and you really submit yourself at the top, you've got a chance at that fourth, fifth, and sixth game to really turn online. Somebody who turn online, but Savage is going to go down to Noah Riley in the feed. So the contestant happened, and Savage unfortunately falling. Looks like Benji is trying to take down Kiriachi in the time being.
Yeah, Benji trying to set up one of the ambushes here on the side. You see him trying to pick up Kiriachi as he's going right for the slurp jugs. He is going to find the initial burst shots there, opting not to use that sniper rifle, and instead closing the gap on him as fast as possible. See if he's able to get it. White tags coming through, using the tac shotgun at a high rate of fire to push the box. And well done, Benji. We talked about the contestant over there, and he says up. 0 out of 10 for the effort. The Russian judge doesn't even give him a point. Benji taking it down there, and that's 2 elims right off the start for him there. You can see the bottom left corner. He's with 5 players right now. So a lot of space being pushed out, and it's interesting to see 5 players assault the enemies. Effectively, you're all taking one house of loot and saying, I hope this is enough.
Yeah, I don't know why 5 players are there, and I think it has to do something with Rezon. He scared everybody away from Holly Hedges. Anybody that normally landed in that path said, no, I'm just going to go try my chance to assault me there. The Spirit is now over to the Tortilla. This is Ongle, and he's been dropping here for a while, we know that. But he does not have Ocean's First AR in Ocean Nautilus subject. Someone else may have snagged it from him, and with his aim, with what he can do with it, that specific First AR is so good. From him. It looks like he's not going to need it now. He's going to get some tags going into this fight. That player's going to have to back out. Mongo, though, not going to let him do it. He's got to be careful. He is running out of AR ammo, but he says, you know what, who needs an AR? I got a shotgun and a crash pad. I'm going into the box. He's going to miss the jump a little bit, almost deploying a crash pad there, but the continued pressure that he's keeping up is trying to keep this player from going any higher. It is Smudge just trying to get away. He's got a little sliver of HP, but Mongo going to get in the box and do that Mongo classic and get the elimination.
Like he had to resolve that fight right away, because even picking that up with the additional match drop, now only has 52 materials. And while he is in the zone, since it did pull towards that south side, he's going to need to find it. And with so many other players around this area, it's going to be really hard to max out quickly. But now, hop on board with our match number 1 winner. As you can see, the format in the right-hand side, each elimination being worth a point. You can see once you get into that top 10, you'll have 8 placement points going through, all the way up to 14 for first. And you can see 11 through 15 is 7, 16 through 20th is 6. The intervals of 5, then the intervals of 10, and of course, you get that first placement point after the first 25 players have gone down. So still, plenty of players who need to drop here, which generally is a little slower from you. You typically see a little more aggression going on. However, as you get further and further on into tournaments, the stakes and the players become that much more difficult to fight against, and it's really hard to confidently take an early fight, as we have Rax and the Costa Rican Sebi in a battle over here.
Ooh, and Rax on back foot already. So this is that weather station just above Patty and Semi going in. The shot, they're going to go through. He's going to get the additional damage. He's going to follow the AR. The crowd damage is going to pay off for him. Elimination comes through. But now the question posed to Semi is, can he go get hit loot? Can he go get Shockwave Monster and that charge shotgun? Or will he set over to the home?
Oh, mira, gracias.
It's like they're respecting each other's areas of this authority. They kind of know, hey, he's going to be over here. I can tell by how he's looted. I know Ludwig's going to be this side because I know how he's looted from Hardfine's perspective. But what's concerning about this is the players that are around here is there as well. You got 2 other players on the side. Lewick is playing this very well. He's hitting things and he's standing still. That's how the Haitians act. They walk around, sometimes they get stuff in their way, and then they'll stand with those you do and moving there. On the other side, we've got Wolfies who's in a fight against the Marauders. Hopefully he's able to get out of those Marauders very, very potent. They shoot you, they throw things at you, and they just will try to eliminate you at all costs. And they've got very, very good aim, especially with that hunting rifle there.
Esto está muy para abajo.
Wolfies is pretty low, but he's got Art at pretty low as well, 158 feet. Now the Marauders are coming in here. The third party is right. Sometimes the third party does not always have to be an actual player. It can be AI. This is really good for Wolfies. He's allowing Marauders to go after this player and go after him or get the initial damage. But if he goes in, he's got to be careful. He can't look to go in right away with all these Marauders around. If it doesn't do any damage to him, it's going to be very, very, very hard to build through and walk through. As you see the builds are going to get broken. This is bad for Wolfies. He needs to get rid of the Marauders. The shots are coming in down to 11 HP. He's only got 2 builds remaining. Quadrat place. He can't build anymore. Got a player right there for a little sniper shot. Going to come out, and it does. But he goes down to a Marauder.
Watto getting picked off there, but the Marauders catching.
He hecho una carita.
It's
una carita.
Ardit soaking most of the aggression. Him opting to go down. Ardit will clean up all of that. So good heads up plays by Wolfies to pick up the snipe, but the Marauders ultimately enacting their revenge there. And it can be so difficult when you get caught out by them, particularly in the open. The builds that will target those and will try and take them out. You're definitely able to kind of ditch them and get rid of aggro when you're around some of the more natural cover on the map, those houses, bridges, and the stuff that are nearby. But Vato not going to be happy about that. Third-party tag there. And Wolfie's going to goes down and says, hey, if I'm going down, you're coming down with me. And will also deny a key elimination point that could have gone over to Ardit. So ultimately, he's going to be upset his game is over, but at least he's able to pick up a little bit now back on board. And as we can see, he's used to fast starts placing first with 5 kills in game 1 apiece as well. So see if he can turn his confidence into something more, as he is over on the northeast side of the zone with plenty of players around him. However, he has priority on the rotation, but not a ton of materials to really do it. You don't want to be forced to burn those metal and the brick here. We refer to those as hard materials, because once they get built up, they provide that much more defense for you. However, they're so much harder to get naturally as you move through the map that Lowe's finding Cammy there. You can see immediately he's going to head over there because he's like, hey, I need those maps. I need those refreshers. When we talk about refresher in the term, this is it, because that's going to be refreshing.
Esto bueno.
What a shot and a heads up play by Lois. He desperately needed that, as well as this.
Topan con esas Kenty.
At least 74 AR. That's not enough going to an in-game competitive Fortnite game. You definitely want to have a little bit more like Noah Riley here. Again, takes off Mr. Savage and now has the loot to show for it. They got coming in clutch with this loot. He's got this player down though with those tags. The big shield's going to be popped there. Now Noah has to be careful. He wants to go aggressive. His instinct is to push in with that crash pad and get the aggressive play, but that player back up to full HP. He's got to be careful. Shots go through, get it. Not going to connect on the shots there. Noah over the top. Shots come through. A 71 tag there for Noah. And now he's going to get crash pad in. It doesn't matter though. Crash pad is actually going to send him away. He's got to keep the pressure up to keep the player from popping any shields, and he's got the player back and forth, up and down. He's got the crash pad. He's going in. Shots are going to come through. The player puts the stair over the top of his head. And another good tag there. Noah's not able to find him. Noah's not able to finish him off. The player continuously layer changing, going up and down in between the builds. And Hydro was just trying to run for their life.
Hydro trying to put as much distance as possible, and unfortunately going to go down there. Good job for Noah Riley on the chase. We talk about how important it is to resolve fights, particularly because you don't want that opponent burning those resources, because when you do take them down, they'll drop them there, and you want to get as much as possible. You can see Noah picking up all of the minis there, back up to 6. Good job, so it's 4 crash pads. And one thing you'll note in particular when you're looking at these mid-game fights, and what you should be keeping an eye on.
Así es como juegan otras personas de otro país. Así es como juegan. No con el mapa ahí, sino con el mapa ahí. Porque le lanza bro, soy tonto. Pero con la puntería al otro lado.
On the corner of the walls, you throw it against that corner and it'll end up landing right behind you, and it pushes you forward into the box, but it won't affect the other players. So it allows you to line up your shot ahead of time. And most times it'll also put you behind them, so they're not able to play defensively. As Orange trying to play defensively here, but Bafo just comes in and says, hey, you didn't have enough time to reset and get your shields up. I will take all that loot. Thank you very much.
That's the dangers of taking a mid-game fight, is if you take any damage, you're going to get third party. Players are going to recognize that shield crack sound, they're going to move in. But on the other hand, look at Lewick. He took that fight, got out, and now is on the move. But Carrot is setting up an ambush and the shots coming through. Lewick has been tracking. Look at the box separation that he just did there from Carrot. Get time. I am trying to pass him, and he's there with the top. It's not his. Just get a nice layer trace coming out and above, but he doesn't have enough time to pop the big shield. Just looking to try to pop another mini, and he does get it off. And now he's looking for a shot. He needs to put the pressure back on to Carrot. If not, then he's just going to keep running around, and Carrot's finally going to be able to get a shot on him. Carrot decides, you know what? Not worth my time, not worth my materials, not worth my HP. I'm going to disengage.
I'm 50-50 on that. It felt like if Carrot had kind of kept pressing, he might have been able to pick up Letwick, particularly because, look at Letwick, there are only 20 total builds coming out, but that also means if you are able to take him down, you're not going to necessarily get that much back. You're only going to get 35 total, and it's really not going to be that beneficial unless you're able to rotate cleanly off of it. Both have the crash pads, and now you can see a fight going on here between Diablo and SSD and Andy. Andy on the back foot here, and Diablo trying to push forward somebody we've seen had the capability of playing aggressively. He is above that Storm Surge threshold, so just trying to hunt this player and doing a good job keeping Zandy on the back foot. Does get the cone replaced, owns both, edits back under. Zandy able to replace that stay there, so Diablo is just going to reset for a second, make sure he's still back up near that 100 threshold, and then Zandy go down. So good job making sure you pick that one up. Zandy was below that Storm Surge threshold. Diablo will see that coming through the Storm Surge, will pick that over. So that's what we talk about right now. You can see on the right-hand side, Diablo is currently 130 damage above. Zandy was below, which means he takes that 25 damage every 10 seconds. And it also signals to Diablo, hey, I can just tag this guy up and then wait, because any damage he does to that player, as long as they go down within a minute, he will still get credit for that elimination. He will still get the point, and he can go over and safely pick up that loot.
That is another aspect of competitive Fortnite that everyone has to think about. At Storm Surge, it plays a factor into so many of these players' games. Sometimes they forget about it because they're pumping, they're rolling, they got their mats, they got their ammo, they got their builds, they're in code, and then they're like, wait, I didn't tag anybody this game. I gotta look for tags. Prince Machine on the other side above, and a good amount above. If you're about 100 to 150 above, you're looking at a good spot. If Stops comes through, he's gonna take advantage. It's fine. Swab with one AR shot. That is what you needed. We saw conversations do that in the first game. Just find any sort of elimination that you can, far away or up close. Don't even have to risk yourself getting tagged up for it. Beautiful elimination.
Yeah, but you notice how he's doing that find a cone and editing a single wall. That's to avoid all of those hunting rifle headshots that we've seen come out time and time again. You don't want to get him in there. Looking for some of those tags to make sure you're safe. But that being said, when we talk about tags and going through, that's generally meaning you're looking for long-range shots, not with the intention of actually trying to eliminate the opponent, but just doing some damage so you're not threatened by the Storm Surge, as Flois ends Froggy and puts a prime example of why you need a cone in a window and to limit the number of angles you have, because so many of these top-level players will be carrying those weapons, particularly in EU, that is known for their snipes and hitting their shots. Well done from the game #1 winner, who's continuing to roll with the momentum here. Boxed up next to Arctic, passive over the side, as we're transitioning now into that mid-game kind of territory as players are starting to get closer and looking for priority in terms of zones number 4.
What? In elimination, he needed it too. He only had 2 hunting rifle shots. That first shot, he needed to hit. He didn't really have a chance to follow up if it didn't. Very heads up play by Flois. First place, taking down second place. That is, hey, that's pretty good for your mentality. Even if he goes down here, like, hey, I took out my competition, so I know I'm pretty secure there, but we're still pretty early.
Que sin querer, tío, he puesto título de Jugando rambow.
And it's important to note when they stress during the top of show how every single interaction matters. Right there, Flowis eliminating his direct competition right now. The player who is closest to him, who's able to pressure up. That means if he's able to build up a lead now, it's going to be that much more substantial because effectively he's eliminated one of the players who can threaten him the most. Now we're on board here with ADN. We saw him have an amazing run yesterday, pushing in. Right there, you can see the Dorito edit being taken down. And that's such a good push. Strokey was looking to set up a crash pad there with that edited cone in his box, but ADN rocked in and then occupied the space, stuck to the AR, and then just used the weapon to close it out. Well done, being a key pick there in the mid-circle.
And he desperately needed his match for not looking good. Still are not looking good as well. So he's going to have to find another impact elimination along the way. As Rumbow was hardest, again, that's not looking good. Now, there is a player's loot there in front of him that he got the English from. Not actually prioritizing picking it up right now. It seems like he's looking to build. They didn't go for the loot. Mr. X is nearby, and he's nearby as well. Martin's in an awkward spot. We've got Ram in this game here as well. Andy has him like a lot of players still alive. 61. We talked about Spencer. This is the threshold where it's 50. 11 players need to go down. Narda makes a heads up play to get a box. And Crashpad's going to come through. That's bad for him. Let's see the shots come through. And he does. Maestro going to go down the aggressive play. Not going to be rewarded. Arden, we were rewarded for his passiveness.
Yeah, and you can see the reason why so many players are fighting right now, both that storm surge and trying to get priority. We talk about fourth zone. Look in the bottom right-hand corner. Everyone is looking to box up and stake their claim on as much real estate as possible. For when that half out reveals, you don't want to be sharing a spot next to somebody as you go to rotate, and they're looking to clear out the players nearby. As Arden picks up Lois there, so 1 and 2 are down. That's going to open up the leaderboard. Tons of players will have an opportunity to charge up. Eyes are now on and whether or not he can kind of extend his lead out there. As Arden also picks up Lecce. Mongrel getting scout there in a brilliant job because he's now cleared out all the players on this tarp in that next half in, half out, the one before moving is pulling directly over to this cluster of players. So Payson, Benji, Helix, Wizit, Mr. X will all be over there sharing the half in, half out with Arden. They all have priority on everyone else who's rotating into the zone. So they're going to be fighting among themselves to make sure they're safe and not going to get ambushed, and then swap over to what Tayson's doing now, looking to catch the players, burning their rotation, burning launch pads and crash pads, trying to get into this zone.
And this is very lucky for Tayson because again, press the amount of builds in the inventory, he only had 54. That is not where you want to be for this game. He has to find an elimination to get to this moving zone effectively. That's how the crash pad. When you start to use those crash pads, you start wasting those builds box up. And he needs to find somebody. If shots come through, he's not going to be able to beat people out of the air just yet. But we do see Debbie unfortunately falling, but he's taking that top 15 placement threshold. This is what a lot of people are playing that can say, hey, at least I went down inside of that. Tayson, however, is looking to get aggressive, and I believe that's on, I think this is Benji. I'm 97% sure Benji is right nearby. If Benji makes the wrong edit, he goes into a box that's on his. Tayson is going to go aggressive. So there's going to be pop, edit's going to come through, no crash pad in, shots coming through, and Benji's going to go down, Tayson's going to take him down.
All that he was looking for. He heard him trying to set up and get some space. He knew he was pressured around the side. The horizontal crash pad entrance puts him behind Benji, cleans it up with the tactical shotgun. Well done. And the third place player on the leaderboard for the last game, going on the high ground right now, has priority position with Enos and Mongrel just below him. Also Floki on the same ground. We're going to hop on over to become Legends player. He's been playing so well recently, cleaning up the cash cup on his birthday. Had a phenomenal performance yesterday to also guarantee him spot here, and he has priority on this next zone. What that means is he's the closest to where the safe zone has to go past. So as it funnels and everyone else rotates, they have to go past 10. You do not get to past 10, and you notice he's built so much space around him, so he can't be shot at in return. All of these shots are completely safe, so anything he's able to convert on will turn into points for him here as another placement point.
Parece hacker así, pero se ha rayado.
That wall, that is just one of the graphical issues with the replay. He's picking up tags, but now you can see setting up a crash pad, going to use it to go on the rotation late. They picked up a key elimination on the Wizit there as we have our top 35.
And it's such a key elimination because he gets dual sliders at it. Now he's got free rotation everywhere. He could win this game based on that elimination, it was such an impact elimination, but he's being a little bit too greedy on that zone. He did get tagged up, but he's still good. Rotation coming in. We do see Sapphic going down, and rotation X Squeeze went down as well. So a lot of the big names are out of this game, but Hand looking to keep his stream alive and take down one player who landed right on top of him. That was a very, very heads-up elimination onto Pablo, but he's not that healthy. He has those minis in his inventory, about 126 effective HP. He needs to find another one.
He needs to find the outside. He can't be in this cluster. It's really weird to take the grapple gun and then immediately go into the middle because you don't really have the ability to utilize it. And that's what we're looking for, getting towards the outside of the zone so he has more options there. Anas, teammate up on the high ground there, but this is the solos competition, just playing for the same org. You have Gamers Origin, Deceptos there on the middle as we tick over. Top 25, another point going through. Anas running through the high ground. Reason still in the match, and you can see Deceptos picks up Ardit there as top 20 ticks over. Another point going through, and right as I say his name, Reason ends up going down. This is looking like we Become Legends top 15 right now. They have 3 or 4 players still up, but Deceptos trying to find the space, finding a good job, harping his way through and making sure that he owns all of the builds on this level as we close in on top 15. Bad Sniper missing out on a key placement point in Deceptos, looking to try and find a pick on this Crash Pad player, doing a good job to deny the rotation, finds the tag, but not able to necessarily convert it. So many shots, but no elimination coming through, and he has to find that. That's such a key pickup. Inside the top 15 we go. Can he chase down this player? And he finally gets it. That snipe going down, but Hen is still up, picking up Orion as we get into our top 10.
That was going to have to make it plays. It's going up a little bit of an incline. You see it. The old builds are there as well. Hand is going to fall. Slick's going to fall in tandem. Top 10 placement points being missed out by both of them. That's a huge boost as well. Deceptos able to hold on to the player on the other side. Shots are coming through. He's getting the tags, and he does. He is going to go down. Deceptos needs to get out of zone, though. He is sitting and thinking he doesn't have any floppers. He's looking to get in, and he does. But a shot comes through. Loki's going to be the one to take him down, and now 2 eliminations here from Loki. The player right on top of him. He's got to be careful. Shots go through. Back into zone goes Loki. Kicking down very, very low. Now inside the zone, he's good to go, but this is looking really, really rough. He doesn't have floppers. Mr. X is going to go down. He's going to be the one to do it. He's trying to be top there. Look at Anas just pyro whopping all the way up top. He's just walking over old builds. I don't know how many builds he's got left, but he may be able to win this solely based on the fact that it's going over old builds.
Old builds giving him priority. That moving zone, we talked about it, just randomly pulls a distance back away, which means you can continue your rotation. And on top of having the old builds, the Saving Grace has the mythic loadout as well. So this is so big for him as we move into the top 5. 4 players left, but Anas has complete control over this lobby. You can see Tayson as well in the middle. Scramguard and Snazy are going to round out your top 4. Who will finish it off? Will Anas continue the run of the caddy corner loot, proving it out, or can somebody from the low ground shut him down as Tayson picks up Scramguard? So each elimination, each placing here an additional point as Tayson ends Snazy right there. But the shockwave launcher comes out right away and knocks him over the zone. And Anas does get tagged, but he's able to pop the flop in the zone and then gets the follow-up tag with 6 HP to spare. Become Legends Anas from the high ground. 4 eliminations in the victory royale, taking game number 2.
The flop was what he needed to pop, and he did do just that. The victory royale going to be nice. I think maybe able to move into first place after that game, just on the number of points and the eliminations. But definitely going to need the analysts to break down, so we're going to send it right over to them here.
Madre mía, cómo ha quedado.
Thank you guys so much. Great cast here in game number 2 of Europe. Anas finding the victory royale there. Mad props to him. Now here's the thing though, Tayson, another big name we're used to seeing. We keep talking about the quality of players. This is someone who is coming in strong. Ends that game in 5 eliminations. Had he picked up that ER, that 4-point swing would have actually moved him higher up the leaderboard. We'll see that as we take a look at the standings and look at who is currently holding down that number 1 spot.
Usually who ends up winning the game is always at first. That is the same story here right now. BL and Anas all the way up top, victory royale, 7 elims, 28 points. But what happened in that game was a bunch of eliminations from top players, changing the standings from 2nd all the way to 10th.
And there's BL Hen in 2nd there. Somebody definitely to keep an eye on because he plays 4th in the first game. Not necessarily the biggest boost in points this game, other names too, Desintos, who's the king of placing 5th place, the French legend.
Vamos a hacer esto mientras que... ¿Pero dónde están? Hostia, que están aquí, tío. Joder. Lo voy a dejar otra vez porque es que... Vamos a hacer una prueba de control más. Mierda. Mierda por culo, tío, pa' mí, joder. Vamos a ir ya para allá. ¿Dónde estaba la máquina esa de los quartz? Ahí, eso es un chip, un dieta. Los coches no están. Vale.
Second place for Hen after a very good game number 1, and follows it up with a pretty decent game number 2, a 10th place for him, but a couple of elims to boot. And that will put him where he needs to be if he wants to grab that crown at the end of the day, the ultimate sign of power. He falls in 11th, but that's at least solid enough.
Yeah, and this is where power starts for a lot of players in this game. It was Anas who ends up winning, who had Caddy Corner and the Mythic Loot as well. The Shockwave Launcher, Kickstart Shotgun 2. And he just made power become his tool in this endgame. He became legend incarnate, literally just personifying the organization he's on and using this entire endgame as a playground. Bouncing people up, shooting them down afterwards. Look at that two-piece right there. Anas looks so dynamic, and yes, we saw Flowis with the hunting rifle. We saw him with the charge shotgun last time, but for me, it was Anas' gameplay, his creativity that really separated him from the pack and showed us his use of power.
And Anas, that's kind of what we were talking about at Caddy Corner last time. We saw Thomas there for a brief moment, but this time it goes down. Kit spawns down at the gas station, and that's where Anas is lurking. He had a good game last time in 10th place, but if you want to become legend at the end of the day, if you want to solidify yourselves among the great, immortalize yourself, you need to have games like that. Anas and Hen, both at the top of the leaderboards, org mates, and they're standing strong.
Both of these guys are definitely looking to break away. I mean, Anas is ahead of the game, 28 points, but Shy, is that going to hold?
Didn't hold in game number 1 with Lois. I feel like when Anas gets that top slot, he holds it completely, especially at caddy corner. So I feel like, yes, that's my call.
I like it. Quick and concise. That being said, guys, let's throw it into game number 3 here in EU of the FNCS Grand Finals. Casters, they're sitting it back, go away, and it's the action.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Shayo, Bala. Insightful as always. Everyone is looking to become a legend, but right now, to become legend players, occupying first and second. And if you're just joining us, welcome. My name is Sundown, joined here by the fantastic, as always, play selling. This is match number 3, the halfway point of the EU FNCS Solos Grand Final. If you're watching at Party Royale and you just dropped in, hit one of those telephone booths to changing stations. Make sure you get your favorite outfit on, then head on over to the main stage, catch the action out. You can see where everyone's dropping right now.
And if you notice, the yacht only has one player on it. I'm interested to see who that player is. Is it Savage? Is it Noah Riley, who came out on top? And of course, who's going to come out of Caddy Quarter on top? That is always a question in all of these players' minds.
Vamos a hacer esto. Pero mierda. Uy, pedazo de montaña que... Pedazo de bache que hay aquí. Hostias, tú. Hostias. Ah, me sale para hacerlo otra vez. ¿Dónde es? Madre mía, tío, qué puta mierda. Ay, qué puta, qué puta, qué puta, qué puta a mí. Qué puta a mí. 2, 1, 6, 5, 4. ¿Y si haces todas, qué pasa? Mierda, 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 mierda. Mierda, mierda. Mierda, mierda, mierda. Cinco, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3.
huge tags in the Elam coming on to meta Shrimsy. Super unfortunate, using the crash fence desperately trying to get the zone, but even with those tags, he's 62 above.
And you can tell he's not happy with it. He's already looking to move into zone and set up for another couple of tags because he's going to need it. The 52 above just turned to 60 above, and this turned to 52 above. He's going to start trickling down that leaderboard as everybody hear you with the eliminations. And that sniper, maybe looking to set up an ambush here on the Keswick. Maybe a sniper nearby guys there as well as a sniper shot is going to range there. Not actually going to connect onto anybody, but Knight looking to be aggressive on his tag. It is above 1/3, but not by much. Let's see. Take down Supremacy's limit there. Knight, though, has a very good position in zone. He can rotate to his right for his ease there to really take play on that side of the zone. The shots are going to get through third. That sniper shot comes through. That player got tagged up by everybody. Anticipation Arion is going to fall down.
Single shot going there. We talked about it. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and sometimes worth throwing the AR bullets over both for storm surge tags, but we might get a little bit of that RNG on your side. Pick up the elimination. Somebody else did most of the work, the hunting rifle shot coming through, but there'll be the meta factor there as Kinzel now. Going to put some pressure here on Flop and Michael. Again, a number of players still under that storm surge tag, so you can expect passive players to push through storm surge. Will impact the players with them the least amount of damage to opponents, but Flop and Michael punishing Kinzel there, who was under that pressure, as more players will need to go down before it turns off. Roller 007 picks up Maestro. Gambit's Moaka also goes down, but you can see Flop and Michael also under pressure here. He was the player who had the brilliant crash pad play yesterday, and he set up another one here and end up converting it. Now we're swing on over to a Knox and get a nice little replay. See what's going on here. Changing the crash pads, landing directly on top of the player, catching him over on the side. Ben, what are you doing? Cover your back, man. You can't be doing that on the edge of the zone. But a Knox pushing himself further out towards DD. Don't forget, he was in first place.
Me gusta el flow de la cucaracha.
Very great play from Knox, realizing he was able to clear as well. Quickly got out of the situation. Now Andy can be aggressive and looking to push. Shots are still coming through. Knox can use his dominant solo performance. Quickly 60s and the solo is evident as an invincible. And Knight in DreamHack. He's recently been turning online, you know, in the last couple of months. It's really great to see him come into someone who could become a legend. Just after being picked up by that organization. This engage, so it benefits him a lot. He's able to refarm some of these metal as well. He wanted to hit that fence there. He refarmed a lot of this wood as well. Maybe thinking of elimination is good for him. He was in a good spot. Now he's being pinched by these players.
I believe he also had a pretty solid performance at DreamHack Anaheim, flying out to that win, making it to the grand final there, but now hopping on board. Another player who was there. That's a sniper though, under pressure from Atlantic. Trying to get box that sniper disengaging. Does have plenty of shield and blockers if he can make the space, however. Now in the zone, and that's a 2-tick zone, but as soon as it passes over and it closes, it's going to go to a 5-tick zone. So that sniper is going to have a lot of pressure here from having the chug splashes and having the blockers compared to that sheet. Going to load up. But doubt he has as much heals as that, and going to be punished there. Yeah, no additional white heals coming out to the siphon. Really beneficial for that sniper there. He has a relatively clear path to the zone now. You can see on that bottom right-hand corner, only 1 or 2 players are going to be in the play.
That's always unfortunate, is getting eliminated in the zone and just trying to rotate through. As a Knox doing the same. He's got white heals with only advantages, and he is popping them this time, but he's got to be careful. Elimination will net him so much. He'll give them the loot. If that player's 3 white heals as well, it'll be so good. As Andy's saying, more healthy than a Knox. Zone once it closes, like you said, 5-tick, and now it goes down. Shots are going through between each other, and Andy's going to have that flopper. He's going to be able to just outlive a Knox here unless a Knox makes a play, but no, a Knox going down, and that's number 1 out of the game.
Knox being taken out there, the pressure from the storm, 5-tick zone, Andy eating all the cabbages, knows exactly where they went, directly into his stomach there. Also has the floppers and the bandages as well. I'm actually going to argue that he should have used the bandages there to allow the cabbages to kick himself over the top, but instead going to pop that flopper and limit some of his mid-game and later game options there, but options for safety is now on board with reason
afford to make those mistakes right now.
This is grand finals in Europe, the most played in region, arguably the most aggressive and most talented region as well. If you are able to convert on elimination, please do everything possible and make sure you're safe. It's all about covering yourself up afterwards and allowing yourself to be in a position to continue on in the game. This region is so good at capitalizing on others' mistakes. Now notice, build up on the high ground, use those hard materials to make sure he's established and safe, but Strokey trying to encroach a little bit on this real estate. That's the fight you're going to see. Reason opting to drop down and just return to safety as everyone else is going to rotate into the zone. This is zone number 4. So priority positioning is going to be towards the outside. You're going to be keeping an eye on who ends up going towards high ground and then who is playing out on that low.
Easy able to make it here. Another player able to make it into the pin game is going to be Savage. And with that off-spawn elimination on the Noah Riley, I'm assuming that elimination there. Noah Riley went down early. Gotta be Mr. Savage taking him down, but that is coming through. Nice. And they've got there by Savage, but someone's trying to capitalize on him. What's coming through? He's gonna pick up a double. He's gonna go down. He's gonna go down. Pressure's not done yet. The crash pad's coming in. The crash pad master, Mr. Savage, gonna be able to pick him up there. He's ready to fight. He's ready to go aggressive, but someone on top of him. It's gonna be bad sniper there, trying to box the box. Steady there as well. Savage really needs to make a play to get out of this. Going up into an old build will get him out for now. And what a phenomenal heads-up play. That's what you do when you get elimination. You realize there's more players nearby you, and you take them out.
Second place point going over. Don't forget, this is game number 3, so we're about to be at the midway point. This is a fantastic opportunity for the knocks down somebody else to unseat him and become that front runner. We talk so much about momentum, whether or not you can hang on, whether or not you get running. Froggy, a player who thrives on momentum, finding a key in there, the backside of the zone, using the launch pad and then getting in on priority. Half in, half out. Now closing in. After this, it will be all moving zone. So it's all about making sure you're safe, finding rotations, and figuring out whether or not you're able to get to that next zone, and then trying to punish players around you who aren't doing it as good as you.
Ledwick's looking to capitalize on someone hopping into their wall. The inside the cone, just sitting there waiting. Good crash at it. We've seen it before. We saw it go against Benji there. And he's going to fall as well. Hidden goes down. What a big elimination there. Another player near the top of the leaderboard going down. Traffic's falling as well. Ledwick is dropping down, though. He knows this player's riding below him. He wants to see the action because he's got 53 builds. He definitely needs to find something. His ammo lacking as well. 5 shots with that charge shotgun is going to go through in an instant, and the negative has to pick up an elimination.
Bueno, pues hasta aquí el directo porque tampoco quiero estar aquí 3000 años. Pero bueno, espero que os haya gustado, dejar un like y ya está. Adiós.